or friends, family. No, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, back with another history reaction, right? Professor Jiang, right? Kick in secret history from the Predictive History channel. Tap in with him, y'all know. I want y'all to tap in with him. You know what I'm saying? Y'all find any points of interest with whatever lesson that he's breaking down, go ahead and check it out. Right now we are looking at literary Genesis. You understand what I'm saying? Literary Genesis. Now using my little, ignorant sort of what is this? Speculative art of, piecing puzzles together. I'm thinking, maybe the book of Genesis, maybe, we might be going the biblical route. And I'm sorry to my other type of scholars that are of other kind of religious practice, but we are here not for the religion, but for the lesson. And for as long as you understand that, I feel like, we'll be fine. You understand what I mean? So it's not really religious. And once we are remembering that, everybody can partake in the lesson, right? Let's see what Professor Jan about to break down about literary Genesis. Let's go.
At the beginning, this existential crisis, the reason I cannot keep competing and keep on living. So it's back against the world, seeing all your value once you dealt with all the dirt. Backing up slowly from these diamonds and pearls, quote unquote.
Alright. Secret history with it. Y'all see that? Secret history, number 17, literary Genesis. Hopefully it's visible for everybody to see. Y'all go tap in predictive history if y'all see, or if y'all find any points of interest, man. Any points of interest, y'all can go tap in with that. So, interesting takes by Jiang over here. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, it's actually, the rebellion that happened actually at the Garden of Eden. You know what I'm saying? Actually is what saved humanity, and it is all thanks to the woman. Right? Interesting, right? Because the woman is the one that took it on to herself to make the decision to partake of the fruit. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know the classic tale of the partaking of the fruit, Adam and Eve. And then she's the one that went on to give Adam. So you know what I'm saying, for her to take the initiative to do all these things, and now their consciousness or awareness or eyes, right, so to speak, are now open to the knowledge of good and evil. They partook of that. They were told they will surely die. They did not die. That's what the serpent ended up confirming. Well, that was part of the temptation. You know what I'm saying? And then they did that, and then they did not die. Instead, they were now knowing good and evil. And part of the good that they knew were the details that, they actually have an aspect to them that is like God, that is equal to God. You know what I'm saying? And that was a good thing, according to Professor Jang, and it's all thanks to the women. It's actually like an interesting little, not little, but like an interesting POV to the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Looking at it from a academic point of view instead of religious or spiritual or poetic or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? So, but then now, hold on. Now we're at a point where now we, God, we trying to see the reason why he ended up destroying all of humanity. And finding favor with Noah, you know what I'm saying, giving him the instructions that he gave him to do what he did. Carry on, Professor.
This is stupid. I need to start over, okay? So he creates a flood. But there's one person on the earth that he thinks is a noble person, Noah.
Yeah,
right?
There we go.
So he says, Noah, build an ark and save yourself. So Noah builds an ark and he saves himself. And then after the flood recedes, Noah comes and rebuilds humanity. And then God looks down to Noah and says, you know what? I will never again curse the ground because of humankind. For the inclination of the human heart is evil from you, nor will I ever destroy every living creature as I've done. As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat.
So was there some sort of regret? Like a sense of regret? You know what I mean? Because we've already established that now, the sense of, we've established the sense of self-reflection from, God as is spoken by Professor Jang. But yeah, it's like there's because God has a sense of self-reflection, a sense of aggression. You know what I'm saying? A sense of looking back and saying, you know what, I will forgive y'all. You know what I'm saying?
And winter, day and night shall not cease. This is God saying, oops, I made a mistake again, okay? I didn't like the evil.
So with that being said, this might be the sense of regret
That humans were creating on this earth, and therefore I want to wipe evil from this earth. But you know what? If I give them free will, if they have that fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, then yeah, some of them are going to make mistakes, okay? And it's something that I'm going to have to put up with. So he promised Noah and humanity, I will never do this again. If you guys do evil, well, you're going to have to solve this problem yourself. I'm not going to come and solve it for you.
Throwing in the towel on folks.
To make everyone suffer like this. I will never do this again.
Yeah.
Right? So humanity is rebuilt, and of course humans go back to being evil. Starting wars, enslaving each other, exploiting each other. So then God's like...
So but then why did the same mistake happen then? Is it another oops, I did it again? Like, yo, Professor Jam, bro, like, I'm not gonna hold you, man. Like, yo, your perspective on God is very interesting, sir. You know what I'm saying? So wait, you tell me it's a oops, I did it again type of scenario again, where, you know, the first count was a oops, I did it again, so let me destroy everybody and start everything over again, and then that happened, right? And then now is it a oops again, but then now we just leaving them to their own devices, their own foolishness, you know what I'm saying, their own shortfalls, shortcomings, you know what I'm saying, like own demon time type vibes. Like, what's the reason behind that second version of like humanity, you know, doing whatever they want with the control of you know, being God at the same time? You feel me? I don't know if that's a valid question, but it's, yeah.
You know what I need to do is this.
What?
I need to build a nation that is the best nation, and which will be a great example to everyone. And this nation I will call Israel.
Israel.
Okay? So he looks around the earth, and he discovers a name named Abraham.
The birth of Israel.
And Abraham is the patriarch
Who had many sons.
of the nation of Israel, but he's also the patriarch of the religions of Christianity and Islam, okay? So Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are considered the Abrahamic faiths because they all think Abraham is their patriarch or their forefather. And so Yahweh says to Abraham, I will make a covenant with you. I will make a contract with you where I will favor you, but you must swear loyalty to me. You must promise me that your people will be loyal to me. They will worship me only, okay? And that's the covenant, the Abrahamic covenant.
Okay.
Now what's interesting is the relationship between Abraham and Yahweh. Okay? You would think that Abraham would just be a slave and a servant to Yahweh. But that's not actually what happens, okay?
What happens?
So let's read the story. So what happens is this. God promised to not destroy the earth, but then he's like, yeah, but then there's some places that are so evil, I need to destroy them to teach everyone a lesson, okay? So this place is called Sodom and Gomorrah.
So basically I need to make an example. That's where the concept of the sense of making an example out of Marcus comes from. Watch out. Do your homework.
And Sodom and Gomorrah is known for its wickedness.
Sodom and Gomorrah, yeah, do your homework. Oh my breeze.
God sends men, okay, angels, to Sodom and Gomorrah to destroy it. Abraham is shocked by this. So Abraham's like, yeah, but you can't destroy everyone, okay? So what happens, and this is really interesting, is that Abraham and Yahweh start having a debate. And Abraham pleads with Yahweh to change his mind, okay? So Abraham says to Yahweh, will you indeed sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Suppose there are 50 righteous within the city, will you then sweep away the place and not forgive it for the 50 righteous who are in it? Far be it from you to such a thing, to slay the righteous with the wicked, so the righteous fare as the wicked, okay? He's saying, Yahweh, you're making a mistake. Think about that, okay? A mortal...
Oh, there we go. There's the answer to my question. It was a oops, I did it again. It was a oops. It was a Yahweh, you're making a mistake. Or maybe that was just Abraham's projection on God. But it was like, yo, bruh, like something must be wrong here. Are you losing your mind? Boom. Oh, shit. Nah, my fault, Professor. You can go on. My bad.
is telling a God you're making a mistake.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like this guy, you know, the nuts, the audacity to tell God that, yo, God, bro, like, you're fucking up, buddy. Like, I ain't gonna hold you.
But Yahweh's like, yeah, I think you're right, okay? So they agree. So Abraham says, if there's 50 people who are righteous, you cannot destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And God says, you're right. If I find 50 righteous, I will forgive everyone. Okay? So Yahweh agrees with Abraham. At this point, you would think that Abraham's like, yes. Okay, and then he would run away. But he doesn't do that. He keeps on arguing. He says, yeah, but let's just say there's 45. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
45.
Narrowing
Suppose
it
5
down,
or 50 are lacking. If there's only 45, we can't find 50. Don't you think we should still forgive Sodom and Gomorrah? And God's like, you know, that's a good point. Yeah. So, you know, 45 is good as well. Okay? And he keeps on going on and on until they get to 10. For the sake of 10, I will not destroy it. Okay? This is what Yahweh promises Abraham. So in other words, it's not that Yahweh and Abraham, it's not like master servant, it's more like friend. Because what a friend does is, a friend is honest with you. A friend tries you to tell you.
Yeah, and they hear you out, understand you, try and see your point of view.
The truth. A friend tries to get you to be better, okay?
Yeah.
So what Abraham's saying to Yahweh is like, I know you're a virtuous God, but sometimes you make mistakes. So it's important for me to argue with you, okay?
Yeah.
And that's why Judaism is such a powerful religion, because the basis of Judaism is debate and argument and questions, okay? Debate and questions. Why are Jews so creative? It's this simple, guys. Jews are encouraged to debate each other to figure out what is truly right. There is no absolute truth. It's always a process of asking questions, open debate, and self-reflection.
Yeah.
Okay?
I feel you.
All right.
So that religion is about debating and negotiating. Because that is a negotiation at the end of the day. It's a debate, right? Negotiating is a debate on getting to a certain price point, to a certain threshold that we're both trying to get to. You know what I'm saying? I'm not far off. That's a debate. You know, and they be negotiating. And that's, you know, that's one of the principles of business. You can follow the trail from there.
Eventually, what happens is that
what
will happen is that Abraham will give birth, will have a son named Isaac. And Isaac will have 2 sons, Esau and Jacob.
Okay.
Jacob's name will eventually become Israel. So Israel is founded by Jacob. What will happen is that Jacob is the younger son, Esau is the older son. So you would think that Esau would inherit everything from Isaac. But Jacob and his mother, Rebekah, schemes and steals from Esau. Okay, they trick Isaac and they steal the birthright from Esau. So now Esau is pissed off at Jacob. So Jacob has no choice but to run away. Okay, he runs away and he meets a relative. Okay, and what follows next is the greatest love story in the Bible. You can also argue it's the greatest love story ever in human history.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
And what's amazing about the story is how simple it is. But once we start analyzing, you will discover that it's actually a very complex.
Gee, I might just coin this one the greatest love story in biblical history. Yeah, might be the title of the segment of this video.
Complex story. All right, it's a beautiful, complex, and sophisticated story.
Nice.
All right. Laban, who's a relative, says to Jacob, "You're my kinsman. Should you therefore serve me for nothing? Tell me, what shall your wages be?" Okay. So Jacob's running away from his brother, and he finds safety with Laban, and he offers to work for Laban. But Laban said, "Listen, I can't just enslave.
I'm on whose phone is that now?
You work for me, and I'll give you whatever you want." Safety with Laban, and he offers to work for Laban. But Laban said, "Listen, I can't just enslave you. So you work for me, and I'll give you whatever you want." Okay? And then Jacob says, Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the younger was Rachel. Leah's eyes were lovely, and Rachel was graceful and beautiful. Jacob loved Rachel, so he said, "I will serve you 7 years for your younger daughter Rachel." Laban said, "It is better that I give her to you than I should give her to anyone else." So yeah, I agree to this deal. Okay, it's a contract now.
Yeah, it's a contract.
All right?
See, negotiation.
Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed to him but a few days because of the love he had for her. Okay, so he loves her so much that
The passion was real.
7 years is nothing to him. Okay.
Yep.
Then Jacob said to Laban, give me my wife so that I may go into her, for my time is completed. So Laban gathered together all the people of the place and made a feast. But in the evening, he took his daughter Leah and brought her to Jacob, and he went into her.
What?
When morning came, it was Leah. And Jacob said to Leah, what is it that you have done to me? Did I not serve you for Rachel? Why then have you deceived me? Laban said, this is not done in our country. In the younger before the firstborn. Complete the week.
Gave them the wrong girl. They gave him the wrong her. Not his her.
Of this one, and we will give you the other also in return for serving me another 7 years.
What?
Jacob did so and completed her week. Then Laban gave him his daughter Rachel as a wife.
And he did so though.
So Jacob went into Rachel, and he loved Rachel more than Leah. He served Laban for another 7 years, okay? This again is a beautiful love story, and it doesn't sound like it, okay? But let's go into the complexity of it. Okay, first of all, clearly Laban deceived Jacob, right?
Yeah,
Did he mean to in the beginning? The answer is no, okay? The question then is, why did he do so? And the answer is, Rachel and Leah are sisters, right?
Yeah.
And therefore, they probably hate each other. They're in competition with each other. So when Jacob says to Laban, I love Rachel, but not Leah, Leah now is pissed, right? So what do you think she did for 7 years? For 7 years, she just pestered her father and says, hey, am I not your daughter? Am I not your firstborn? Will you let me be insulted and humiliated like this? If Jacob were to marry Rachel, who will ever want to marry me?
Yeah.
And Laban's a father, okay? And he doesn't want to deal with this crap. So he's like, how do I get out of this mess? Well, what I'll do is I'll trick Jacob and first give him Leah, and then I'll give him Rachel. And how does he know this? Because he knows that Jacob loves Rachel, right? Laban's able to stand far away and look at how Jacob looks at Rachel. So he knows that Jacob will have to endure, okay? He'll do this. But then the question then is, does Rachel love Jacob? And the answer is yes, of course, right? Because once Jacob married Leah, then Rachel could have just said, screw this, I'm going to marry someone else. But she didn't. She had to wait 7 years. And you can imagine those 7 years were the longest 7 years.
So it's 7 more years, though, if you think about it, because now it's like serving 7 years to try and get Rachel, and then being tricked and being given Leah. And then now, to unlock Rachel again, you got to serve another 7 years. So isn't it like 14 years? She was also patient for 14 years. That is crazy.
For both Jacob and Rachel. In fact, every day Leah probably said to Rachel, ha 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 ha. Okay, she was laughing at Rachel, just saying, you see, Jacob doesn't really love you.
Stupid.
And Rachel had to endure, okay?
Yeah.
So this is the power of love. The
Power
way
of
that
love.
Jacob and Rachel were able to endure all this humiliation in order to just be together. Okay, it's a beautiful love story.
Okay.
And this is the great thing about the Bible. The
Tell me about
Bible
it.
written by this person, okay, who's clearly a woman, right? Only a woman writes stories like this. It has both economy and irony. Economy just means that she's able to, with very few words, convey deep meaning. She's able to, in the story, just a couple paragraphs, create an entire universe. We can see actually the movie play out, okay? It's 14 years, where in the first 7 years, Jacob is really happy. But in the last 7 years, every day he's agonizing because he doesn't want to be with Leah, he wants to be with Rachel, but they can't be together, and he has to wait all these 7 years, okay? So economy, but also irony. Irony just means it's funny, guys, okay? I know that you're taught the Bible as a religious text, but when it was first conceived, it was meant to be a funny story, okay?
How do you know
this
that?
Is a story of two sisters who hate each other and they're competing for the same guy. All right?
Yeah,
this competition continues. When Rachel saw that she bore Jacob no children, she envied her sister, and she said to Jacob, give me children or I shall die, okay? You have to get me pregnant because Leah is having a lot of kids. Jacob became very angry with Rachel and said, am I the place of God who has withheld from you the fruit of the womb? Then she said, here is my maid. Go into her that she may bear upon my knees and that I may have children through her. So she gave him her maid as a wife, and Jacob went to her, and Bela conceived and bore Jacob a son. Then Rachel said, God has judged me, and she has heard my voice and given me a son, okay? This is a comedy where she's in competition with Leah. Leah has a lot of kids, so Rachel is going to cheat and give her maid to Jacob. And whenever a baby comes out, Rachel's like, it's mine, it's mine. And she's gonna go around and cheer to like, try to outcompete Leah, okay? This is a comedy. Then Jacob.
Nah, Professor, I don't know where you see comedy there, bro. I don't know where you see comedy there. If anything, bro, it would be maybe an experience of, anguish and maybe sorrow. You know what I mean? Sadness. You feel me? Okay, because taking it from the point where the expectation, you know what I'm saying? Jacob is here to try and attain Rachel. You feel what I mean? So now the expectation is that, I'm here for Rachel. You yourself, Professor, said that, whenever Rachel and Leah's dad would see Jacob looking at Rachel, or would see them looking at each other, he knew that, you know what? Even if I take this guy through 7 more years of trying of attaining Rachel, he'll do it, bruh. He'll still do it, even though I gave him the wrong girl. And lo and behold, like, Jacob did it. You understand what I'm saying? Jacob did that. And so, they would, like, I highlighted that to point out the fact that they would be seeing each other. You know what I'm saying? From across the room, the whole romantic aspect. No. But, they'd be seeing each other. They'd be looking at each other. So they'd be feeling on one another. You know what I'm saying? And so therefore, I would assume that after that first round of 7 years, Jacob was probably like, yo, me and your dad, we made the agreement, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Right now it's 6 years, 364 days. Tomorrow, it's my anniversary of being here for 7 years, serving your dad for you. We're doing this. Let's go, baby. You know what I'm saying? And then it's a whole little situation just for him to be handed Leah, the other sister. And then I was like, imagine the heartache on Rachel, on Jacob. You know what I'm saying? Imagine the heartache there, number one. Number two, this Leah girl cannot even bear Jacob kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now, obviously, like, what does that do to the union? What does that do to the dynamic of these two people that are supposed to be together? And now Jacob, he's expecting a son. Like, he cannot even get a son from Leah. Leah might just be, disappointed, heavy-hearted, like, maybe depressed. I can't even produce nothing for my husband or whatever the case. You know what I'm saying? And then now you throw competition on top of that whole little situation. It's a competition of who's gonna bear the son, aka who's going to give the man the most prized possession. In other words, you understand what I'm saying? So a comedy, I don't see no comedy in this though. Not gonna hold you. That's just like my whole sidebar though, right?
Jacob said, God's judged me and has heard my voice and given me a son. Rachel's maid conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. Then Rachel said, with mighty wrestlings I have wrestled with my sister and have prevailed. So she named him.
I have wrestled with my sister. Listen to that. I have wrestled with my sister. She ain't sweet. It's not sweet. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're in competition with one another. They trying to be the best one. You know what I'm saying? Clearly, I'm not seeing it the way you do, Professor.
To Lee, okay?
And that's okay.
All right?
All right.
Okay, so does that make sense? And now what Leah's going to do is give her maid to Jacob as well, in order to continue the competition, right? To try to outcompete Rachel. Okay, so this is all just a comedy. Okay, it's meant to be beautiful stories that force you, that provoke you into deep reflection.
Yeah.
Right, and this is why the Jews are so creative. If you look at the media, if you look at Hollywood, if you look at academia, the Jews dominate. Okay, because from the moment they're born with a story that forced them to think deeply about who they are, what it means to be human, and what life is about.
That's interesting.
Okay? And as you can understand, you can just have multiple interpretations of what's going on, but they force you to think very deeply about life, to have an inner debate with yourself.
Yeah, that's true. Now that's true. And also I could, to this day, I respect the, open interpretation sense or nature of art. You know what I'm saying? The fact that you could derive whatever meaning, whatever, whatever the passage means to you. I'm saying that could like be beneficial to your growth of understanding the world better using that text. You understand what I'm saying? And I feel like, especially with texts like this, bruh, it's not like a one size fits all. It's not a one size fits all type thing. It's open to the interpreter. Open to the interpreter. Oh man, that's really God. I cannot speak today, bro. I cannot talk. But quick little word from the sponsors.
I hear the sound buzzing, so when she said she wanna die, and he sees she ain't bluffing, so he held her to the skies, cries, sour momentum, passive with goodbyes. I'd rather you tell him, but now the truth is I've digressed from all the feelings, so it's forever though. Like my mama's son missing, ain't no telling, do they love or did they kill him? The dominoes have fallen, we can't go back to beginning. This existential crisis, the reason I cannot keep competing and keep on living. So it's back against the world, seeing all your value once you dealt with all the dirt. Backing up slowly from these diamonds and pearls, quote unquote.